And here we go. The next series, Hypokrass versus Witchdoctor in the monthly tournament of SD2 with our lovely 30-minute time limit, and we have another 15 Scots player in the form of Hypokrass versus a Lovash player on Cell. And Cell feels like a pretty solid Lovash map, so should be interesting. Witchdoctor bringing them in, Hypokrass bringing in once more the 15 Scots with Daimlers, with Humbers, with 6-pounders, and the rifles. So rifles obviously at the moment not too amazing. Defense groups with speedy transports as well. No Churchills so far. Let's see what we will get in that regard. Maybe we will see the AVRE, as it is in Hypokrass's name at the moment. AVRE rules the world, so let's see what we get there. Before we go into though, one more shout out to League Season 8 starting next Monday. And you can still sign up. You will end up on the reserve list as the tournament itself is full, but if you sign up now, you will get on the reserve list a bit higher than other people maybe signing up later, and there is the chance for dropouts. So yeah, sign up if you're interested, and we will notify you if you come up. And yeah, other than that, feel free, if you haven't signed up, feel free to join us as a viewer, because there will be a lot of cool events going on. Vulcan will be there, El Bowser will be there, Vampiro will be there, Attack Power Gaming will be there, and obviously we will be here with a lot of coverage of Season 8. And then on Saturday, there's a one-day preseason event with the same rule set as League, but just one quick day of action. And we will also hold an event for announcing all the groups there. So see you all on Saturday for that. And yeah, with that said, let's jump back into the game and see what's going on. So let's see. Dude, stop insulting El Bowser. Like, sorry, buddy. Yeah, don't insult him, Bowser here. Get banned there, get banned here as well. And it's all just a meme, dude. Yeah, not a fun humor. So, bye bye. I'm Larry C. Coming in. Vickers HMGs in the south. Rifle leaders will join as well. Usually El Bowser is not too quick on banning people, so he must have done something stupid to receive that. And yeah, insulting him most likely ain't the way to getting a non-ban. So yeah, and ain't gonna happen here either. Tyran coming around the north. Jargolyorsk will join them as well. Issue of the Hungarians, speed. Not the issue of defense groups and Willies. So maybe that's the plan here of Hypokrass, grabbing a lot of land with Willies. At least you get some faster BMWs with the Hungarians, so you can get a couple of units in the front line, but with snipers, with rifle leaders, with defense groups, and with also maybe assault engineers or assault pioneers coming in here for Hypokrass. Hypokrass might be able to grab a couple of flags there and just live from that advantage. But we will see how that goes. Daimler AC coming in as well. 6-pounder. Moving up into the center. Defense group will jump in over here. Shaba coming in. Chaba have a what's the name of the anti-tank rifle? They have an anti-tank rifle in it, in the turret. They don't have too much HE. They only have 1 MG. The anti-tank rifle can't fire against infantry, so it's not too effective against what's up down here because there's not a single vehicle. But as you can see, yes, all the small little jeeps rushing forwards. Defense groups coming in here as well and grabbing a lot of territory. Witchdoctor not going for this flag. So most likely will go down to a 1311 to hypokrass, and will have to push hypokrass out of that. Tyrann's coming up everywhere. Daimler AC in position as well. Fast transport as well. And losing Hujar, Goliorsk and transport is painful. All the Hungarians infantry units are relatively expensive. Hujar, Goliorsk coming in for 30 points a tick. So dropping them in transport, not a cheap thing to do. Meanwhile, the sniper and Vickers HMG setup eating up Lovash in the south as well. Xaba has to disengage. 6-pounder otherwise will eat it. 40mm though. At least coming in with some HE shells from the rear. But Xaba goes down. Lovash will have to disengage. Tyrann engaging the Daimlers. Daimlers getting the W above it though. 6-pounders and Daimlers pushing forward. Wolf in the rear. An 80mm AA piece in the rear as well. But Tyrann's not doing so hot lately. Goliorsk might be able to deal with the 6-pounder. But the two Humbers, or Humbler and a Daimler, the sniper and the rifle, most likely will be able to pin it down relatively quickly. 6-pounder though goes down, was caught up in the open. So at least that part goes well. You want to retreat out of this though ASAP as Witchdoctor. Not pressing retreat down there. Had to retreat down the south as well. Tyrann's coming up. More Tyranns in the center as well. But the 6-pounders are in position everywhere. Outside of the north, where the one obviously got killed. Although I feel like hypokrass has a pretty solid setup here to deal with Witchdoctor's forces right now. In the center, not much push power there, with only one infantry unit and 2 flamethrowers. Wolf at least keeps an eye on everything. 2 AA pieces actually coming out of Witchdoctor. Off map coming in as well. Yeah, that was actually up for after this, most likely. Unless you think it's not worthwhile. But that was the plan afterwards. Hujar Goliorsk versus defense group. Coming in over here. If you say it's not a worthwhile cast, I might cast something else. Langjork sitting in the rear here. Defense groups will engage each other over here. And the Hujar Goliorsk most likely will get pinned down here. Defense groups with their 4 brands against the 3 solid thorns of the Hujar. It's close. The defense groups both got a lot of stress damage. If they would have been focus fired, I guess the Hujars could have won. But the defense groups take the lead. And over here, 6-pounder goes at it again. 6-pounder pretty good at stopping Tyranns. Relatively high rate of fire, and every hit is a penetration basically. So the Tyranns have a rough time there. Will go down. Off map in the south should be pretty effective. Though a lot of forces also disengaged. Hypokrass got a couple of stuff out. And we see the first big boy. Not an AVRE, but at least it's a crocodile coming in here for Hypokrass in the south. Trailing its flammable material behind it. In that little carrier. And let's see if that ever gets a flame shot out. That's always the task, obviously, that you have to achieve with a crocodile when you bring it. Can you use the flamethrower? And the 6-pounders can sneak up on another Tyrann here. Tyrann, I think, got a penetration, has to disengage afterwards. Whilst Hujar Goliorsk come in around over here as well. Lovash will unload in the north. Daimler and C and Humber sitting in the light forest. Whilst rifles will move forward here through the town as well. Toldi 1 rolling in through the north. Tyrann sitting here, but the Tyrann's not as effective as you are used to from the Lovash division. As Hypokrass has found a good setup of countering them. 6-pounders in a lot of nasty places. And the Daimlers outranged them, right? Oh no, they have the same range? No, they outranged them, right. Yes, and I think that was the reason why they lost in the center. Because the Daimlers were able to shoot first. And Daimlers have really good rate of fire as well. So they're actually a pretty good counter to the Tyranns. You can't kite them. You're faster than them. You outrange them. You can penetrate them. So you can just get at that 1250 meter range. And then shoot and run away. Shoot and run away. And that's pretty nice. Like, Not something you think about too often before you start picking divisions, but obviously hypokrass already made it work a bit, and yeah, that's the reason why I feel like Tyrants are good, but I feel a bit overrated. Like the 100 meter range really is a big issue. Sure, they have 10 hit points, but they're not really a medium tank. Like medium tanks have 1500 or 1750 meter range. Tyrants are somewhere in between. Like they're that weird hybrid between medium and light tank. Sure, they have amazing rate of fire when they get in range and decent penetration, but the issue is on a lot of maps you don't quite get in range. And even on a map like this where there is cover that you can get behind, they get outranged sometimes. Like the Ren over here. The second one though helping out. Should be able to get the Daimler kill this time. Yes, it does. So good catch there for Witchdoctor. Bringing up the low version itself as well. I would like to see more infantry and less Turan play right now out of Witchdoctor. Bit more infantry, as the infantry I feel like is the bigger advantage that you have over the 15th infantry actually, because rifle infantry not that amazing and when it comes to cost efficiency. Meanwhile, Huzaroks and Hujar-Goryorsk pretty efficient on nearly all ranges against rifles especially. Not so much of use them in transport though. 6-pounders and Churchill there coming in with another kill. And this setup is really pretty strong here now. And it seems like hypokrass is just fine with being the 1311. And just keeping it around after this. I mean, I'm not 100% sure I'm pronouncing them correctly either. Onotach. Hungary and Finland, like the languages are quite difficult for the normal, like Retro-Romanic language speakers, as they are from their own family, language family. So, not as natural as maybe English or French for us Western Europeans, but they're cool. It's nice to have some languages like that floated around. Like even Polish or so are easier to understand, I guess, because they're still somewhat closer. Like even the Slavic languages for Western Europeans are easier to learn, but Hungarian and Finnish really are their own cup of tea. Crocodile here versus Turan. Crocodile will get the kill. I think they like both were originate from the Ural region, from two like tribes or like that were dislocated by the Huns, or like yeah, and like moved through. One moved to Finland and the other one moved into the Hungarian basin, and they were able to keep the language around through all the centuries. If I'm right, I might be wrong on this though. Like both from the origin and which of the Western movements the reason was, but I think it was the Han that created that movement, or like some natural disaster that also like was in the same time period as the Hunnic like invasion of Eastern Europe and the Roman Empire. Spitfire coming in here versus the 40M. There's a pin. 1311 going on. And we will see if Witchdoctor can find a way of breaking this. But the setup looks quite good here for hypokrass. And a pretty brutal playstyle if this is really the full idea here. Just getting the 1311 and then let the enemy do the work. Let them bleed out. Hujar-Goryorsk moving forward. Witty, what did you try to type? Was that supposed to be a link? I guess it was supposed to be a link, right? Yeah, Hujar-Goryorsk moving forward. Another one moving in as well. Another off-map coming in. Securing the off-map with the AA, I think, is a good idea. That part I like of Witchdoctor's play. Question is, will that be enough? Turan gets another kill. And off-map comes in. Yeah, our Discord, for example. Can't find the link down below. If that doesn't work, let me know. But you should find that link both in chat if you type !Discord, or down below you can find the logo to a Discord, where you should be able to find players as well. Iran versus Honey Stewart. And then the Bootcamp Discord also is a good place to find players. Huge and official Discord, not as much. There's not that many like people looking for games there. But SDL and the Bootcamp Discord are the best places to find new people. Other than the third one, I think, is the Vulcan Discord. They have a pretty, like, good crew of people going on there, playing team games every Sunday with Vulcan, and also at Wednesday, I think, as well. Jargle York's disengaging. Another off-map coming in. So yeah, off-map, not a bad solution here for Witchdoctor. Let's see if that can work out. But Tyran's really bleeding out here. And it feels like a couple too many units have been run into anti-tank guns. Anti-tank gun positions have ambushed quite a lot of transports here. But maybe the push-up here can work with the off-map, with Akarjok. Though it seems like Witchdoctor might need a bit more time to prepare for something. Like it did like bit too many piecemeal engagements here, with like only a single infantry unit trying to move forward, and that often doesn't quite work out. You usually need a bit more oomph behind a push to actually make it work, especially after the first couple of minutes. But the speed advantage is really nasty. Like hypokrass abused the matchup pretty well, or used the matchup pretty well, with the release and the slow transports of the Hungarians. Really one of the big disadvantages of all the minor Axis nations, that their main transports come in slower, and mostly also they don't have any super fast small transports either, so they often have to push back after having a slight disadvantage on the unload position. Nimrod coming in though, so a lot of AA. But you need territory here, Witchdoctor. And the question is where to get that. Hujar Golyorsk engaging the rifle Piats. Honey Stewart and Crocodile coming in here for the counter push. And I don't think there is a solution for the Honey Stewart quite yet. Well, the 40M could work, but only with the heat shell. And at this range it's not gonna use the heat shell. No. And it's also firing with the AP shell on the Crocodile, not the Stewart. Like, it would at least fire on the Stewart right now. It would be great, but something to learn, if you don't know it yet. Anti-tank guns always prioritize the target with the highest armor. No matter if they can penetrate it or not, anti-tank guns, or like anything with AP value, always targets the thing with the highest armor in range. So if there's a Crocodile or a Stewart to choose from, it will fire on the Crocodile. A thing that you can use if you have like two tanks in your deck, and one has really high armor, like a Crocodile, and the other one has really good penetration, for example a Sherman Firefly. Move them into the enemy range together, and the enemy has to really focus fire the Firefly, otherwise all the anti-tank guns like PAK-38s will fire on the Crocodile, and your Firefly can freely pick them off one by one from afar, whilst the enemy AT guns will bounce on the Crocodile. Obviously, good players who know that will focus fire, and also you should keep an eye on your anti-tank guns when the enemy has units like the Crocodile or the Jumbos, so that you focus fire if need be, so that that doesn't happen to you, what just happens to Witchdoctor here right now. But yeah, a really like a mechanical thing about Steel Division that is good to know, otherwise your engagements might go as they go for Witchdoctor right now, and that's obviously not too great. Crocodile slowly moving forward. Hujar Golyorsk holding the line pretty well here. Defense groups getting caught out in the open, but more units are needed here. Hujar MG42 coming in. A big artillery piece has arrived in here as well. And another good off-map. Like, at least the off-maps fit pretty well. I don't think there's quite enough forces around here for counter push just yet though. And the time is starting to run out here for Witchdoctor. 15 minutes remaining, but really the time is it starts to become of the essence, as you need to get at least back to a 12-12 relatively soon, and then need to get a counter push in. As with the 30-minute time limit that this tournament is played on, the advantage in points ticked that hypokrass has already accumulated is pretty big. Churchill sitting around over here, 25 pounder coming in too. That's Tamber and AVRE roll in through the center. Żagolyorsk sitting around, 31M. Is a good artillery piece. But the Honey Stewards and Humbers doing pretty well. Yes, the Turan's really not doing nearly as well as you would expect out of them. Infantry doing decent. Off-map coming in here as well. 70 pounder though, picking off more Turans even. Turan 2s this time. They have a bit more range. They have 1,500 meter range, which is pretty helpful. But the 70 pounder gets another kill before the off-map can pin it down. Baldi tries to move in, but there are rifle leaders with Piats. There's a dime there. Turan 1 over here gets picked off as well. Another off-map coming in over here. But there's just not enough stuff to follow it up with. All the Turans getting picked off, infantry getting often killed off in transports, or afterwards bullied by Honey Stewards and so on. And hypokrass is really finding a good combined arms against the setup of Witchdoctor here. After that early on lead. And we have two AVREs coming in here, okay? The big 290mm spigot gun is around with its 500 meter range, and you don't want to get hit by that. That's a lot of ouchie. 14 HE is some of the highest HE in the game. That thing usually one-shots normal infantry squadrons. Żagolyorsk might be big enough to survive it actually. Well, yeah. Goes down to 5 hit points. It's 2 shots though, not so much. Having 2 AVREs here is pretty brutal. They are 85 points. Crocodile, the bit more useful pick realistically. Oh, 4 of them coming in. This is a bit of a meme. But hypokrass seems to be far enough ahead that they can't afford doing this. Honey Stewart getting bombed here. And Nimrod using the AP shells currently on the AVRE. What's the range on the Heat? It's a 700 meter? 750 versus 500 meter range on the AVRE, right? So they could just bully the AVRE from afar. Yeah, the Nimrod actually could be really helpful here in dealing with them with using the Heat shell. But you have to realize that first. Okay, Hujarok MGs get an AVRE here. You want to have something in front of them. Keep them around. But the Nimrod obviously has to be careful around the Crocodile or the Humber, so just keeping it around, not a good idea. But the Heat shell can be pretty helpful. AVREs though coming in with the rifle push here, and they will one-shot the Hujars. And on this map, AVRE is somewhat viable, I would say, as you can force 500 meter engagements. There's not many maps where I would ever recommend bringing in AVRE, and even on this map I would prioritize the Churchill, the 2000 meter Churchill HEs, as they are way more reliable. Yes, they do a little bit less damage, but they have higher rate of fire and they do it on 2000 meters, which is really important. But AVREs can be fun, and on this map, as you can see, they also can be put to use. Another AVRE pushing in over here. Rifle versus Żagolyorsk in the forest. More rifles moving in. But the Focke-Wulfs keep on flying in the air. An off-map on this obviously would be really helpful, but this Focke-Wulf already has used all its off-map. Only flying around as a recon. And it doesn't seem like Witchdoctor is able to really field the counterattack here. Just too many units bleeding out throughout the game. Witchdoctor really having a good setup all around. Hypokrass, I obviously mean. And the counterplay here of Hypokrass against the Turan's strengths was pretty impressive. Crocodile here though, a bit suicidal. Nimrod now would be in range. for using the heat shell, is still using the AP shells though. And that's a mistake. AVRE will be able to get the shot off, and that most likely will finish the Nimrod. Oh, no. Nimrod has created enough stress that the AVRE doesn't fully hit. But with the heat shell, it has a good chance of actually killing this thing. With the AP shell, not so much, I don't think, as these only have, yeah, 75mm of frontal armor, but at least they will force the AVRE back. Two more AVREs still around though. And Jagdpanzer and Tyrann not quite capable of killing it. JOD-75 might be though. Yes, this is a good run, but maybe too little too late. Second AVRE goes down as well. But a 59 has been achieved now. And only 8 minutes remaining here for Witchdoctor. Which means Witchdoctor would most likely need an 18-6 here of turning it around. And that will be hard to do so. More AVREs around. Yeah, overinvestment into them for sure. But hypokrass wanted to show them to us. It's a fun tournament, so memes obviously are absolutely allowed and wished for. Maybe not something you should do in a more competitive tournament like League, but here that's totally fine. Lovesh and Romarjok sitting around here as well. Jarok, MG42 could push forward, and yes, Witchdoctor needs flags and needs them badly. It will be tough to get them now. I mean, these 3 flags maybe, but the defensive setup is still here somewhat for hypokrass and should be able to slow it down long enough. And then there would still be 3 more flags needed to really make it viable, and I don't quite see where those can be achieved. AVRE over here at least goes down. Yeah, he should be good enough to keep Spitfire at bay. And Witchdoctor not too bad with the supporting equipment, but it feels like the infantry play and the tank play still is a bit lower compared to hypokrass level, and really hypokrass early play forcing Witchdoctor into constant attacking was a bit of an issue here, it seems like, for our player in blue. But if this game would be without time limit at this stage, Witchdoctor I feel like might have a chance, though obviously the health bar is not that far up anymore either. But without that, with the time limit in play, there's not much chance here for any turnaround, other than hypokrass having a DC here. This game seems to be pretty over. Against the AVRE might get overrun here actually. Jarks might get in range. It's a bit too close to the deep forest. MG42 sitting around here as well. Tyrann and Jagdpanzer most likely will get picked off by the 17-pounder. Or at least one of them. 17-pounder, good defensive unit around here. And yeah, 17-pounder, he will get the shot off. Jagdpanzer not dying. Yeah, we casted your games beforehand, Badger Jelly, by the way. Interesting meme with Turina, even though it didn't quite work out. But I felt like it had potential. Execution just was slightly off. And you, I think, invested some of your pushes into the wrong section, but cool idea. And a pretty close game number 1 as well, where I feel like Homayun just focused flags a bit better than you did. But pretty cool games there. Not gonna lie. Crocodile over here, engaging Nimrod. And yeah, hypokrass coming in with the early push and early advantage and just keeping it from there. Going up from 59 later on, after Witchdoctor exhausted themselves on the lines of hypokrass. But beforehand, a pretty cool play here by our player in red, and nice try by Witchdoctor. As I said, I think the supporting equipment here of Witchdoctor were all on par, like the off-map idea, the air support, the AA network, maybe a bit too much AA, but the real issue was that Tyranns, which usually can work like this, were hard countered by hypokrass, and it was pretty good play by hypokrass here. And something you have to adjust to, and it just seems like Witchdoctor was not quite able to do that in time for this one game, number 1. But still, a pretty cool game here. which is on its last leg down though, as only 1 minute 46 remain in Witchdoctor's health bar, and the counter push in the south has been exhausted. AC coming in. And Rifles versus Lovesh moving in here as well. I mean, yeah, I feel like the time limit is a breath of fresh air. I said it earlier. It's something different, and that's what the monthly tournament is there, right? Like, it's for us to have all the different forms of fun that we can have with Steel Division, testing out new rule sets. I wouldn't recommend it for League or anything, but it's just like for one-time tournament, it's pretty cool. And I could see it coming back once more at a certain point. I feel like if every game would be with 30 minutes, yes, it would be a bit one-dimensional, but like one tournament, it's totally fine. I enjoy it. It's just the strategies are different, the maps are the divisions are different, the setups are different in divisions. Like I, for example, don't quite understand like having infantry without veterans here maybe is a bit of an issue. Like you can use units that are super card inefficient, which you could never pick in a normal game because they're just too card inefficient. You can use here, and so on. Like you can use veterans up-vet things that you usually can't up-vet, and that's pretty cool. Like just seeing this game being played differently. So I enjoyed the 30-minute time limit. I absolutely have a good time with it. Just gives us a different perspective on the game and some new ways of having fun with a, by now, pretty old game. But yeah, GGVP here, 2 hypokrass in game number 1. And yeah, I'm looking forward to game number 2, when maybe hypokrass isn't quite as capable of bamboozling Witchdoctor at the beginning. And then, yeah, that should still be a good matchup. Like, I mean, we still made it 28 minutes in, so game number 2 should be interesting. And yep, let's jump right in there. And GG to both players. As you can see, Witchdoctor didn't do super badly in the kitty. It was just the Tyrant getting murdered at the beginning. The push of hypokrass, the matchups of hypokrass versus the Tyrants that completely seem to have caught Witchdoctor on the wrong foot. So if that doesn't happen, we'll see. Maybe Witchdoctor can bring it back to hypokrass. So we jump right into the action in game number 2 on Slutsk West. And we have an interesting matchup here. Some of the new meta in the hands, in the form of 4 Fallschirmjäger, or maybe not quite meta anymore, since the Fallschirmjäger nerf, against some class from the past that might come back though, as the turrets have been buffed quite a lot lately. And that's 3rd Guards Tank Corps, previously known as 3rd Guards OP, because it was broken for such a long time in the early days of Steel Division, but it fell into obscurity afterwards. M42 here might be able to get the AV42, would be a good kill, but a lot of HE firepower coming down on it. Canone 47, Pack 40 and co coming all in, and it doesn't quite get the kill into the Spaywagen. AV42 will survive, and hypokrass most likely will be able to push this town. While engagements going on in the north as well. LG42, 47mm and a Pack 40 able to do some damage here as well. There is an IS-2 from the get-go on the map to push in the center. And I guess that's the big play here of Witchdoctor with the big idea behind this whole setup. Wait, is this alignment bug? What is this? It's not firing. I think that's alignment bug. It started aiming before it went into the position where it can't aim its cannon high enough, but then went to a position where it can't fire anymore. And now it's stuck, which is a bit of a mistake. IS-2 needs to move further forward to be able to shoot. Amchar coming in. Sherman itself, not really getting buffed, but at least it has 800 rounds for its 50 cal. I'm not sure if it had that before, or if only the half and only the half-tax had only 400. But Sherman will be still somewhat good against the armored vehicles here. Only issue here, I guess, is the Pack 40, which can penetrate Sherman relatively easily. IS-2 here really needs to move. This is a big issue. M42, meanwhile, sitting in the south, together with a couple of Guardias. AB-43 will get hit from the rear. Can move fast enough though to avoid getting shot by the M42 again. But Amcha at least gets a kill. Pak-40 though is in range now. Amcha has to be careful, needs to move out of there. Pak-40 not quite able to align just yet. Okay, just shooting on the Guardia. Amcha shooting at the Stuk, and the Stuk is the one that should get out of this position. As the Sherman already gets the penetration. Stuk M43 has a heat shell that deals 10 damage, can penetrate the Sherman, but has low accuracy, and the Sherman has good chance of penetration and does do the job, but really shouldn't fight the Sherman. IS-2 needs to move further. Really doesn't want to be on the ridge. Alignment issues all around. Gustatory Paras pushing with their Berettas and their TNT. Sherman in an engagement with the 47mm. Should be able to deal with it. And Pak-40 I don't think is in range yet. Still firing on infantry. Now it seems to be in range. Okay, and that's a problem for the Sherman. Sherman needs to disengage. Tried to disengage. Still gets shot though and gets finished off. Pak-40 will survive. But the Sherman still got a couple of valuable pickups here, so Witchdoctor should be able to hold on around these forests for now, which is pretty key. Meanwhile, Saperi engaged Gustatory Paras here, and Gustatory Paras get engaged before they can use the Beretta, so the Saperi actually should win this engagement, as they have a LMG, whilst the Gustatory Paras only have rifles, and it also the disadvantage when it comes to cover. So yes, Gustatory Paras get forced back. Good engagement there for Witchdoctor. The IS-2 needs to be used more though. Needs to come in again. Is now in a position where it can shoot. But leaving an IS-2 idle like this when you start with it is rough. LG-42 will now try to shoot. Most likely will reveal itself with it though, and that would allow the IS-2 to fire onto it. Yes, there we go. But it will get a kill onto some 50 cal half-tracks before it gets shot by the IS-2. LG-42 here gets the double kill at least though. Will try to disengage afterwards. Can the IS-2 get another shot off here? And get another 2 hit point hit? Yes, it does. LG-42 bites the dust. No units in the center here for hypokrass, and the front line does adjust for that. OB-25 will come in as well. Another one is in the north, where hypokrass has the unit advantage as well though. Hypokrass once more on the 1311. OB-25 trying to engage. Matcherino coming in over here. Have to fight Fallschirmjägers in a second though. The Fallschirmjägers are in the building, but they can't use their MG34. Can still use their FG42, but Matcherino, even without building, even in movement, will win that fight actually. FG42 goes down as well. So all the infantry in front of the Pak-40 have gone down. Matcherino could pressure through. Well, the leader is coming up. LG42 and MG42 also try their best to help out. But good engagement there for Witchdoctor. Getting the flag back in the center. Gustatory Paras most likely will overwhelm the Witchvedkas, and it has still not been a free engagement here for Witchdoctor. Lost the M42, now lost the Witchvedka. Half-tracks have been killed off, but pressure can be mounted in the center most likely. Amcha movement in the north, I'm not too sure I like that too much. Especially as the Pak-40, I'm pretty sure, has revealed itself earlier. OB-25 though, in a good spot. Will get a couple of rounds onto the Gustatory Para. Most likely not quite enough to kill it off, no, or pin it down. But maybe enough stress so that the Matcherino can pin them down before they can throw their TNT, as TNT now has the 5-second aim time. But I'm not sure about that, as the Gustatory Paras most likely will be able to recover a bit of stress before that happens. And Pak-40 got a shot onto the Amcha, didn't hit. And there was a fire alarm outside, or like, yeah, fire emergency, like, yeah, I think fire truck just moved outside. Fire respiratory coming in. That was pretty loud. I hope you didn't hear that, because my eardrum just nearly burst, because it was right next to my window. Pack 40 coming in as well. So Perry joining them. Emcha on the road. Pack 40. Can it find the engagement? Emcha needs to be really careful here. Pack 40 is a pretty good anti-tank gun against those. Our Exploratory versus the Automachiki. They are out in the open, so the Automachikis have a solid engagement here, even though they are outclassed when it comes to the SMGs. The Radas outclass the PPSH. PPSH not that bad though, so it still does decently. IS-2 gets another engagement here, but still underutilized here by Witchdoctor. Such a big unit is supposed to be used. Maybe a bit scared of the potential of an elephant or so on the side of the 4th Fallschirmjäger, but could be used more. Emcha coming in though, should be doing pretty well. 13-11 for hypokrass. Hypokrass once more with the slow tick at the early game. Emcha will find the engagement, and so far I think hypokrass with the slightly better traits, but Witchdoctor for sure not out of this yet. Had some decent kills as well. The Automachiki push in here was pretty good. Just the northern situation doesn't look like there will be any push possible there. And the center needs the Pack 40 needs to be dealt with. That's the one big thing. Like the Pack 40s are an issue. Everything else the Shermans can deal with. Question is what happens to the Pack 40s. Automachikis forced to fall back as well. Another duo of Emchas in the south. Galias pushing onto the Canone 47 as well, getting the kill. M42 engaging the MG42 down here. But the MG42 will win that fight. Or, no, it's engaging onto the Guardias, I think. What is it? I don't quite see the tracers. What is it firing upon? Is it firing on anything? Okay, I don't see any tracers. Okay, now it's firing onto the M42. The M42 now gets picked off. And Pack 40 once more engaging onto an Emcha, and once more gets the kill. So Perry's over here get pinned down. Emcha over here at least finishes something up beforehand. Satori Powers could come in for the surrender. Not the greatest engagement here for Witchdoctor either. Fallschirmjägers in the building are pretty brutal if you have to engage them with infantry. Kind of want to avoid that. OB25 and Maxime should be pretty helpful in dealing with this gustatory power though. It shouldn't get too far, as the Emcha will come around the corner to say hello as well. And here we go. Surrender happens. Witchdoctor 11-13. 85mm coming up. Where to mount the pressure now? Or where to try to get the flag backs as Witchdoctor? As you need to start to think about it with the 30-minute time limit. 13-11 here for hypokrass, otherwise will lead you out eventually. 81mm mortars coming in. Herman might be ambushed here by the 47mm. First shot did bounce. Check, the second shot I think did penetrate, and the Emcha shows side armor again, and that's the mistake. Once you show frontal armor, you can take the fight against the 47mm. You just need to make sure that you show frontal armor, but with the disengage it had to show side armor again, and that was the mistake. The 47 gets the kill, and that's a big issue. The Sherman here was kinda key. And Witchdoctor now really out of forces in the center. And the second IS-2 coming around, but those really need to be utilized. E2 with only a 50 cal. With only a Dushka MG, not that great at dealing with ground targets. Needs some support to do with that, really. As it is relatively cheap recon plane as well, though. Decently fast, very good at resilience. Spotting for the L2. L2 now coming in to deal with the Pack 40, I guess. Or with Fallschirmjägers. Or with neither of them. Maybe this is a wrong marker. I guess with Fallschirmjägers. I guess that's the wrong marker, or it was a misclick. It actually hits in between. Does a bit of damage to the Fallschirmjägers, but it actually did hit where it was targeted, which might have been a misclick, because there was never any unit in there. Thank goodness Niki's coming in. Seemed like it was aimed for the Fallschirmjägers. IS-2's coming in itself. Really needs to start to do some work then. Thank goodness Niki's will start to try to get this flag back. And hypokrass once more into 59, and 59 is really dangerous for Witchdoctor. On a 59 you fall behind quite quickly when you're only having the 9 flags, and hypokrass now also bringing around the IS-2 counter, which is scary for Witchdoctor as well. The elephant is in the room, and the IS-2 with its 200mm AP shell will struggle of dealing with it. So if the elephant really takes this road, the IS-2 might be able to get a side shot in, and it only needs 1 penetration to finish off the elephant, as it has 12 damage on its gun, and the elephant only has 12 HP, so could be done. But at the same time, Witchdoctor now also has to allocate forces to the north again, as the infantry here has been completely overrun by hypokrass's forces, and hypokrass really good with the anti-tank gun setup in both games, and making it quite bloody for Witchdoctor to try to deal with it. Focke-Wulf also now catching an IL-2 out of position, without protection. AA only coming in now as a response to this IL-2 getting caught out. 85mm engaging too late from the south, as it doesn't have perfect line of sight. IS-2 and Amcha starting to move in. Sherman over here pushing through the forest as well, doing a solid job. IS-2 not quite able to catch the elephant, and that's a problem, as the elephant for sure can catch the IS-2, and frontal hits shouldn't have a high chance of penetration at all for the IS-2, whilst the elephant can penetrate the IS-2 relatively conveniently. Doesn't hit yet though, but neither does the IS-2. Elephant bounces actually. Okay. Amcha and IS-2 in the south coming in. Should be able to deal with the LG-42 relatively soon. LG-42 not 40, not 42. And the 40 doesn't have the best AP. Z-1007 series though, coming in with a lot of bombs on top of these tanks, and that's a way of dealing with the IS-2 as well. It can work out. Still a hold in the center here for hypokrass. 16-8 is happening. IS-2 had to disengage out of the fight with the elephant. Elephant got 1 penetration in, so IS-2 has been really careful now. Parakadusti will join this whole fight as well. And by now, hypokrass has taken a lot of good engagements around here. Some good engagements around in the north, and it seems like hypokrass is perfectly aligned of making this the 2-0 here in the end. Witchdoctor, he's a bit struggling now. And with the 16-8 leading quite heavily in points, and trying to turn that around will be pretty tough. 9 minutes on the clock. And hypokrass is still putting up more pressure in the north, pushing deeper here with the gustatory powers. Panzerschrecks got an M2 as well. ADP at least should be able to deal with these Parakadusti. Second Parakadusti with 2 Breda LMGs coming around as well though. And the Guardias started moving, taking more damage there. Had to fall back. 18-6 now for hypokrass. Triple speed on Witchdoctor's hit points. 4 minutes till defeat. But the Stuk M41 comes in. And these are some of the cheapest leaders you can get in the game, with great availability, or decent availability, in a deck that doesn't have the most amazing tanks, though with the buffed Tigers, you might want to take the Tigers over these. But I actually use them as well. Like, they don't look great at first glance, but I feel like they're pretty useful. As 15-point leaders are affordable, you can put them behind anti-tank guns, you can put them next to AA guns, especially next to AA guns is helpful. which often get hit by artillery, and this thing doesn't die too quickly to artillery. Upvets your AA for a really cheap price, and does its job as a leader. Obviously on the front line it's a bit harder to use due to its speed and low stealth, but doable there as well. Keep it behind cover. Panther 8 coming around for the south. Whilst hypokrass has been pushed back a bit, but still a 17-7. And with only 30 minutes remaining, this bleed or advantage is already pretty huge here for hypokrass. SU-76 is in the rear. Guardia DP gets the kill on the 47mm. Witchdoctor really trying to stay in this, but it's not easy. L2 will try to come around once more. Can't find a kill onto some planes. Not even trying. Good set is using the south though. Focke-Wulfs might have taken the wrong turn. Especially as they're firing directly over each other now. So single hit might hit both. First Focke-Wulf down. Second Focke-Wulf will get hit as well. Does the 85mm get the final hit in? It's close. No. Okay. One Focke-Wulf will get out. 6 minutes only though. On the clock now. And radio mortars, one of the big advantages of the Fallschirm and Jäger divisions. That you get all your mortars with radio. And they are so pinpoint accurate. Can deal a lot of damage. Studebaker, Snub coming in the south. More of these little Stooks and a Panther leader coming in. Okay. 18-6 once more for hypokrass. And the time is running out for Witchdoctor. Parakadusti gets hit in the south. IS-2 trying to help out as well. Parakadusti is pinned down. Guardias will try to join as well. 81mm mortar with the radio. Now trying to get the kill. Panther 8 gets a side shot. Mortars will come around. The IDP will get hit. Ooh. Is this IS-2 in trouble? It's turning around. Cat fight, or like, will the big wildcat get the kill, or will it get hunted down by the IS-2? IS-2 did lose line of sight there. Seemed like it lost line of sight till the Panther A fired again. Will now fire onto the Panther A though. Panther A is so far bouncing, as it's an IS-2 1944. And I don't think the Panther A has much of a chance of penetration, but the mortars are pinpoint accurate here. And they will do damage to the IS-2 for sure. If they hit, Panther A goes down beforehand though, but can the mortars do the retaliation work here? They're not perfectly hitting, but they hit in the end and get the kill onto the IS-2 as well. Radio mortars a good tool of dealing with slow or like immobilized tanks. And they're pretty good for that. Guardias helping out around here against the Parakadusti. Amcha moving forward. 59 for hypokrass still though. And we're at minute 21 already. And Witchdoctor basically would need a 21-3 by now to turn this around. More IS-2s coming around, but really I feel like the main issue was this one idle IS-2 around here. Not quite doing enough after it being brought in as an opener. Obviously you could also just not bring it in and do something else, but if you bring in an IS-2 in the beginning, you need to do something with it. It's such a big percentage of your early phase starting income that it needs to do something that is of effect onto the front line or onto the enemy's composition, and not just idly stand around and do nothing. Like the rest of your forces most likely won't be able to trade effectively if the enemy has invested 750 points versus your 550 points. They should have been more effective combined arms if you just leave like nearly 30% of your points just idly around. 14-10 here for hypokrass. Parakadusti getting hit. Guardia DP getting hit by the bombs. 59 is going on. Tanko the Sanikis will try to move forward in the north. Elephant, really good counter for this. And I feel like hypokrass had the counter pick here. So I'm not sure But yeah, Elephant's pretty good against IS2s. Got AP. Pretty close to being stunned down as well in the south, and looks like hypokrass will be able to finish this off within the next 2 minutes with the kill here on Witchdoctor. E2 flying around in the north. Will spot a couple of units, but the IS-2 is not quite fast enough to affect the front line, and Tigers coming up here, but I don't think they will achieve anything just in time either. An off map here would be great, but you obviously don't get any. And the Su-76s are not the most amazing artillery when it comes to killing power, especially without radio and range for more accuracy. ZSUs, oh, one going down as well there. Second IS-2 got killed off as well. Not sure if by the Panther or by the mortars again, but the mortars for sure do their part in this victory here for hypokrass. Artillery pins down the 85mm. Panther now will try to help out, finishing it off. And 59 is still on. 1 minute 10 seconds now for Witchdoctor to try to get back to a 12-12. But this most likely won't happen here anymore. Good last minute effort push here in the north, but Panzerschreck is around here. Stuk could be maybe ambushing as well. Oof, Bomber not hitting too well, but Tanker Snake is getting pinned down. Means that these armored units won't get any support anytime soon. Panzerschreck got a kill onto Namcha, most likely will get killed off by 50 cals in a second though. Kanone 47, finding some shots onto the Tanker Desaniki as well. Pak 40 hitting the M2A1. But the Guardia DP tries to come in, but only 23 seconds remaining, and Witchdoctor needs some witchcraft here right now to really change this around, but because everything else I don't think is powerful enough to change the outcome of this game anymore, as the last 10 seconds are upon us. So yes, here we go. GGVP to hypokrass in this game number 2 as well. Witchdoctor for sure showing some interesting play. Just, I guess, maybe not the right matchup, and then the IS-2 being a bit too idle. If you start with something big, you have to use it big times as well. Ending up allowing hypokrass to get a lot of cost-efficient trades, and in the end, having a pretty clean victory here in game number 2. So GGVP to both players.